the anchoring relationship. It's really been driven, and those concepts have been around since day one. One is scale. Before I get to that, I want to talk in general what you're looking at. Larry pointed out we have a site that has a north side and a south side, approximately 10 acres to the north, approximately 2 acres to the south. The site falls off towards the east. What that allows us to do is to create street front retail along Western Avenue and parking fields to the back, which I'll get into the parking plans down below. But as Mark pointed out, one of the things that we constantly consider, it's very important to all of us, is that issue of connectivity. And that connectivity, to us, extends both along West Avenue as well as in the east-west direction underneath the building, which we'll get into a little bit later. Dealing with scale, as I pointed out, we have inline retail along West Avenue. We call those the jewel boxes. Those jewel boxes provide for F&B activity along the street, really activating the street front experience. It also potentially allows, if the tenant so chooses, to connect up into the center, into the second floor. That's a tenant-driven decision, but there's flexibility in the plan that allows someone to come and say, all right, hey, I want this tenant, I want 2 floors of it, you can enter in and you can go up. We try to address issues of overall connectivity and introduction of public realm so that we are addressing the pedestrian relationship both to SoNo with the introduction of civic plazas, both at the southwest corner of the site as well as the northwest corner of the site. We feel that those really start to, again, continue that activity along the streetscape experience, but as well as with the introduction of pedestrian connections up into the second level, allow for a connection around the loop, if you will. We're closing the loop to the second floor. Visibility was a very important component to us. Visibility, and you'll see in some of the massing studies, and such that we're not creating a fortress mall, but allowing transparency into the mall by pushing some of the perimeter of that facade back, allowing more visibility and animation into the upper levels of the mall, but also visibility into the parking, or not the parking fields, but the public vestibules that allow entrances into our center, both from escalators and elevators. And on that, I want to talk about, kind of very briefly, entrances, both vehicularly and pedestrian, in the overall site. We've located a number of pedestrian entrances into the center. There's a primary pedestrian entrance in this location, inside condition, accessing the upper level of the retail center via escalator and an elevator, located here on the public plaza. There's another one at this location here, which is actually a level below by virtue of the contouring and the grade change. That is also equipped with an elevator and an escalator that feeds directly up into one of the main courts of the center. There are 2 public entrances via stair in this location and in this location. Again, allowing connectivity across the street, but also allowing that public access into the center at the upper levels. There are multiple other possibilities for connections in the center by virtue of going in and finding other public vestibules, but those are the primary public entrances to the exterior of the building. There are a number of vehicular entrances.
Was there an escalator in the, in the front left section there that, in the middle?
There is.
Just stairs or escalators?
Just a stair in this location.
Okay, and so there's the only escalators on the corner and on the...
There's an escalator and elevator here.
Okay, but nothing on the other side?
Nothing on the other side, okay, at the public realm. Again, if the tenant so chooses to come in and take, say, this door and wants to connect up, they could so choose to introduce an escalator and or an elevator for that connectivity. But that's the public connection there.
Gotcha.
And again, it starts to reinforce that pedestrian and public loop, both at the ground plane, but at the second floor that we'll show.
Okay, and I don't mean to interrupt your presentation, but from the jewel boxes in the front, so it's a tenant-driven decision as to whether or not they have connectivity to the mall upstairs.
That's correct. So an F&B tenant could come and say, I don't need that much space. I want to be a restaurant on the ground floor, and I don't need that upstairs. So then there wouldn't be necessarily a connection within that tenant store up into the second level, but if they needed enough GLA and they connected up, we certainly foresee there to be a connection at the second level into the mall. Okay. The owner wouldn't allow them to have a second level connection and not feed into the public concourse of the mall.
Okay.
Briefly want to touch on some of the